All right, guys, happy Monday. Okay, so what the heck? Okay, what the heck? Where's my meeting? Where? Okay, I'm sorry. My sister called me and Erin linked my phone to the computer, so it blinked you guys out. Okay, I'm sorry. Anyways, squirrel. So I am super excited. We have Jocelyn Yates on. She's an ambassador diamond. She has, okay, stop calling me. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna freaking, can you call Teresa? She knows. It's not like she doesn't know that I'm on Team Triangle. Okay, so anyways, can't get my life together. All right, so we have Jocelyn Yates. She's an amazing ambassador diamond. She's basically been a top income earner since I ever saw her beautiful Instagram and Facebook face. But now she's like my real friend. So she's just at our house. But anyways, so I am so excited, you guys, to have her. Like, she is just kind of a flood of inspiration, and like her brain is full of lots of books and stuff. That's literally every time I talk to her, I'm like, dang, yeah, okay. So if you guys have any questions throughout this, more in-depth questions or things like that, put them in the chat and I will ask her them at the end if we have time. So Jocelyn, can you go ahead and just share your story first, and don't leave anything out? Everybody likes to hear all the nitty gritty. Well, not like that nitty gritty, you know what I'm saying? But it's going to be awesome. Share your story with everybody, because it's cool too, because you were just, a college student and no kids or anything when you started. We have a lot of those too.
Okay, sorry. I had a kickoff Zoom for my team like an hour ago, and I had to distract Taylor because Taylor's still not feeling very good. So she just like got into all of my papers and like threw all of my notebook cards,
what are you doing?
everywhere. It was a mess, but I just sorted through it and finished it. Okay, so for those of you that have never heard my story, you're in for a treat because it's a long one. The longer you're in this business, the longer your story gets. So I actually found this business when I was just 19 years old. I was a full-time college student back then. I was actually, at the time, going to an applied technology college to become a pharmacy technician. And I was modeling wedding dresses at a bridal expo. And in between the fashion shows for this wedding, I was walking through just looking at all of the different booths and entered all of the free drawings because I was a broke college student, had nothing else to do. And if I won free stuff, then that's pretty cool. So I remember specifically that the At Works booth was on a corner, and there was one person on one side and one person on the other corner. So I ended up entering the drawing twice and had no clue what the wraps were at this point, but they made it pretty much sound like it was going to make me skinnier. Didn't think anything of it. And a week later, I get a phone call from a lady named Andrea, and she's like, hey, you won second place. You won $5 off a wrap. You can try one for just 20 bucks. And then I was like, wait, what does it do? And she basically said it was going to make me skinnier. Me already being a size 4 in college, looked fine. I wanted it. So it just goes to show, never prejudge anyone with the goals that they have. Like, my goal was for sure fat loss, and when she said it was going to make me skinnier, I was all for it. So I ended up trying that first wrap probably a few weeks later, and I had incredible results. 45 minutes later, I was a tiny bit smaller, but my measurements were the same. And then 3 days later, after drinking a ton of water, I had a huge measurable difference. I always tell people that I went from before feeling like I had to suck in to after not having to suck in at all anymore. And so I was obsessed at that point. I didn't consider selling it, didn't know that was an option. I didn't even know loyal customer was an option. So I just kept buying the wraps from this lady for $20 because that's how much I thought they were. And so a few weeks go by and she's like, hey, I'm having this party. If you bring 4 people with you, I'll give you one for free. I'm like, okay, sounds good to me. So the party comes, and we that day had family pictures. So luckily I had my sister and my sisters-in-law in town and my mom. And so I was like, perfect, all my friends, I'm going to get a free wrap. So I drugged them after we took family pictures and went out to dinner. I drugged them to this party so that I could get my free wrap, but they were so intrigued that they each ended up buying 1 to 3 wraps themselves, but I told them it was $20. So she missed out on a couple, but she probably just that one night, between me buying some, my sister, my 2 sisters-in-law, my mom, and I think I bought one for my friend, we probably made her about $300 in cash. And it was after this party that she finally said, hey, why don't you just sign up to make some money off of your family and friends instead of making me all this money? And it made sense. So I said, sure, why not? She didn't even offer me to become a customer. I didn't know that was an option. I was buying retail and then I signed up as a distributor. So back then, it's funny because one of my best friends at the time was in a different network marketing company. It was one where their product was something that it was so like over my head. I didn't quite understand it. It had to do with like technology and phones and cable. I don't even know. And so it was really vague when she was telling me about it. I remember just knowing, and she kept saying, you can make a lot of money with this. And so I was going to sign up with her. But that company that I was going to join was like $600 to join. And so I had been saving up for that. And then she offered me It Works instead. And I was like, hey, I've got some money saved up. So I ended up getting a booster kit when I joined. So I paid about $300. And in my I joined in the middle of March 2013. So a little bit after Christy. And I just from friends and family that I had been telling about the wraps. I didn't know it was like non-compliant to say like, oh, I just lost 3 inches of fat. So I told the whole world and they all wanted it. And so just between talking to family and friends and a couple people on Facebook, I made my first paycheck was $44. The next month after that, between retail customers and loyal customers, my paycheck was $497 as a distributor. And then I also made about $300 in cash that month. So I always tell people around $800 in my first month and a half, which is crazy. But then what ended up happening was I had watched a couple of trainings that were super over my head. I had no clue what they were talking about, except for the fact that they said that this business was residual. And they put it in my head so much that basically what residual means is that you do the work one time and you get paid again and again and again and again and again and again on the work that you did the one time. However, I didn't realize that like cash sales, like if you don't make the cash sales every month, then you don't have that money every month. And the retail customers that I had signed up, that was the majority of that $500 commissions. And so gradually that $500 through the summer dropped back down to like around 50. And I was 19, living at home, going to school. And I remember one day my mom looks at me and she's like, why are you still doing that? You're not making any money. My parents were not supportive. They both, when I first was looking at this business, said, well, we're going to let you do what you want, but we know people that have tried something like that and they never made their money back. So don't get your hopes up. That was their attitude. And so after I wasn't making money, I mean, between the products that I was ordering to use myself and my auto shipment each month and the website, I was spending a lot more than I was making. And so when she said this, it was like a smack in the face. But it was the smack in the face that I needed, because I was one of those stubborn people that just, I wanted to prove my mom wrong. And, you know, I just remember then, I don't know exactly what clicked in me, but a couple things that I had learned from just a little bit of the training from here and there that I had heard was that, number one, take quitting off the table. Quitting was never an option for me. Even when I was spending more than I was making, I knew that quitting would never get me where I wanted to be. Number two, when you show up, you go up. I had heard that so many times. And so I knew that if I could just show up to everything that I could get in front of, that eventually I had to be successful. Because that's what they said. If you show up, you go up. So why would they say that if it wasn't true? So that's what I was doing. And then number three, what ended up happening, well, 3 and 4, I'll say. Number 3 was one of the things that I showed up to. I drove 2.5 hours to drive down to Las Vegas, and I went to this training. It was in somebody's living room. I think it was in North Las Vegas somewhere. I don't even remember. But I don't even know the girl's name of whose house it was. Stephanie Dunn was there. There was like 10 of us there. So it was pretty close. And I remember everybody was going around the room asking, and Stephanie was asking, what's your goal? What's your goal? What's your goal? And everybody was like, oh, I want to make $500. I want to go Ruby. And I remember having such issues with my mindset, and I just felt like I couldn't sign a distributor. And so them talking about going Ruby, like that's doing our steps to success, right? So they were all like, I want to do the steps to success. I want to go Ruby. I want to make $500. And I was like, I can't do that. Like I can't sign distributors. And so I remember also thinking like, okay, I want Stephanie to remember who I am. Isn't that funny? I don't, just this little me. And I wanted the number top income earner to remember who I was. But I remember thinking, okay, I've got to say something different than everybody else so she remembers me. And so I was like, oh, but at that point, I didn't believe I could sign distributors, and I knew I could sign up customers. So I just told Stephanie that my goal was that I wanted to earn the $600 loyal customer bonus. And she looked at me like I was crazy. I will never forget, like she just had like this puzzled look on her face. And I just remember thinking, okay, if this, at the time she was number 2, but if this top income earner in It Works is looking at me like I'm nuts, maybe I should listen to what she has to say. And so no clue what she taught at that training or what we even talked about, but I just remember leaving with the belief that she had in me that I could totally do this if I wanted to. And I just remember thinking, okay, why don't I just shoot for the steps to success and see what happens? And so I've got it out in front of me. If you don't know what the steps to success is, you can find this in your eSuite. You can literally just search steps and it'll totally pop up and you can print it out. But there's 3 steps. Step 1, commission qualified. So run your auto shipment. Step 2 is 4 customers. And then step 3 is 3 distributors. And then you just teach them to start getting their customers. So I just decided I'm just going to shoot for the steps to success and see what happens. Because they always say that if you do your steps to success, you'll make $500. Did you guys know that? I didn't know that. If you didn't know that, put a number 1 in the chat. So I decided to shoot for it. But because I came into the business from an expo, I decided, okay, I am going to do an expo. So my upline and I got together, we did an expo, and from the leads that I collected from this expo, because most people don't sign up on the spot, we already know that, it's the follow-up. From the leads that I got from this expo, I got all the customers I needed to fill up my steps to success. I signed up 2 distributors, and then my 3rd distributor, I signed up my boyfriend. I didn't even ask him. I was just like, hey, what's your social? And I signed him all up. Thankfully, I married him, so it worked out pretty good. But so I filled out my steps to success. I helped those 3 distributors get their customers, moved them under them, and all of a sudden, I earned my first 3 fast start bonuses. And then I was like, holy cow, this is cool. And then guess what? So that was those 3 fast start bonuses, that was $300, right? And then when my commissions came out the next month, it was about $200. I had made $500 just from doing the steps to success. And I had this aha moment. Holy cow. I did the steps to success 1 time and I made $500. What if I did it again? Would I make another $500? And so that was my goal, was to do it again. And guess what? When I did it again, I made another $500. And then I was like, okay, I know what to do to be successful. And so I just focused on the steps to success from there. But the 4th thing that I wanted to mention that really changed things for me, one of the other things that I showed up to, because when you show up, you go up, was a conference call. We didn't have Zooms or videos or YouTube back then. But I listened to a conference call of a girl that said she was doing her steps to success once a week on Instagram. And we were so intrigued because nobody was working their business on social media back then. And so I remember getting started in Instagram, and it was a learning curve. The first month or 2, nobody was signing up, but then all of a sudden it just started coming in and it was working. And that's when things changed for me. That was when I started getting my steps to success done. And it took me 9 months from when I started to promote to executive, which is that extra $200 a month. And then from there, On my 11th month in the business, I went ruby. And then on my 1-year anniversary, so 1 year later, I promoted to diamond. I went from ruby to diamond in 1 month. And this part I think is so crazy to think. And I was just telling Christy, you have no idea how much 1 year can change your business. From when I promoted to diamond 1 year later, oh, I love this story. So I went from diamond to presidential diamond 1 year later. I'll talk a little bit more about the income, but I wanted to touch base on this part of my story. So this was the year that I went diamond was the year that I got married. And my husband also was not supportive. He told me, like, I have a screenshot of it somewhere on my computer, but I have a screenshot asking Joel Dunn for advice. I was like, so my husband, or my fiance, he was my fiance at the time, he's not supportive. He keeps telling me this isn't a reliable source of income and that I need to get a real job. What do I do? And Joel Dunn told me, you keep pushing and you keep working, because I guarantee in 90 days you're going to be making more money than he is. And I was. And it's crazy. So I just look back a couple, like real quick, couple little bits of pieces of advice that really helped to get my spouse to be supportive was getting him to use the products and see that they worked, getting a comma in my paycheck and making sure that he saw the money coming in. We used to have joint accounts, and then once we got that combined bank account and he could see the money coming in, he didn't give me crap anymore. Third is get them to an event. And then the fourth thing is take the love language test with them. So I think if you just Google 5 love languages, you can look that up. You can both take the tests, because if you know their love languages and how they best feel loved, they'll be so much more supportive if their love cup is always full. Okay, so back to my story. I was diamond. My husband wasn't supportive. Whatever, it's fine. Through that summer, so I promoted in March, April, May, we got married. That summer, it was hell for our marriage. It was hard. Like, I didn't know his love languages at first. I was working super hard. We got married in May. June, July, my husband promoted to diamond, and August, I promoted to double diamond. And it's around that income range when he could also start seeing the money that he became supportive. And also I learned his love languages. So, I was a double diamond at this point. And then everybody kept saying, you've got to get to conference. You've got to get to conference. You've got to get to conference. I was like, okay, like I've got to go to conference. And so the minute that the conference tickets came out, I bought one for me and my husband. I remember he didn't want to go, but he looked at it as like some weird business convention, but that he was going to turn into a vacation. And so we go to Florida, and this was in January of 2015. And this is like the number 3, get them to an event. So we go to conference. It's the first night. We see the top 100 walk across stage. Now they do the top 150, but we see these top income earners walking across stage. And I remember, I have it somewhere, but I took a picture with Taylor and I claimed it. I was like, next year I'm going to be on that stage and I'm going to be sitting on the white couch. And I just remember like seeing those, and I wanted to be in the top 100 so bad. Like, I just wanted it. And so I texted Stephanie and I was like, tell me how much money I need to make to get into the top 100. And she gave me a number and I started working towards it. I thought it was going to take me forever. Like, I thought it was going to take me at least a year to get into like the top 90 to 100, somewhere in there. Like, because I was like, man, like that's a huge jump. Like, you know, because as a double diamond, plus at the end of the year, my husband in December promoted to double diamond also, we were making about $10,000 together. So I was like, man, like it's going to take me a while. But so here's what happened. You go to conference, and after this first night, I'm exhausted. Like, we had team staying in our room with us. We had another girl we had a king size bed in our room, and it was like Taylor, me, and then another girl on the other side. And then we had like 5 girls on the floor. But so I'm exhausted and I'm like almost asleep, and I will never forget, Taylor rolls over and he's like, Jocelyn, I can't sleep. I'm so excited. I just want to quit my job and do this business with you. I want to cut back on my school hours. Like, we're just going to do this together. Conference changed everything for our business. And it's so cool because besides us going to conference and it changing everything for us, we had about somewhere around 8 to 10 people on our team that came with us. I can't remember exactly how many, but every single one of them except for one went diamond and above after that because they went to conference. So that's pretty good statistics, right? It's pretty dang good. Get to conference. So back to my story. So I went from diamond to presidential diamond in 1 year. And it's crazy because back at conference, I was like, man, like it's going to take me forever to get into the top income earners and to hit that. 2 months later, so in March, when I promoted to presidential diamond, I went from, the year before I promoted to diamond and made $3,000. The next year, presidential diamond check, 26 grand. Oh. And 2 months later, I got a message from Pam telling me, congratulations, you're the number 60 income earner in the company. When I thought it was going to take me all stinking year to get maybe into the top 100. You have no idea how much things can change in just 1 year. But you've got to put in the work every stinking day to get there. So fast forward another year, I went from presidential to ambassador. And it has been so much fun. After ambassador, we're obviously building our 2.0 team, almost triple diamond. And my husband is able to be home full time with me. We are building our 3rd custom home right now, and we are bumming it in my parents' basement because it's the best, right? And we have a little girl now. So I've been through all different walks in this business. I've been the 19-year-old single college student. I've been the freaking out engaged person that needs to pay for a wedding. I've been the newlywed. I've been the newlywed that's broke because I was stupid with money back then. I've been the traveler, that just the newlywed that has so much fun. And I've been the pregnant lady, and I've been the mom. Like, I've been through it all. And I should also mention that my job before this business was I was a full-time nanny to 2 families that each had 6 kids plus a newborn. So I've been through it all, whether you had like 6 kids and a baby, or you were a college student, or you just have one, or whatever. Like, I've experienced so much, and like I've learned, especially even just with spending time with Christy, that as long as you just decide that you're going to do this and commit to it, then you just put in the time and you commit 20 minutes here and there through the day, that you can succeed. I always tell my team, decide, commit, succeed. Okay, Christy, that's my story.
I love it. Okay. So, you guys, I just love her story because it's very, like you said, you have every part of it. And that is super important, because I think sometimes people are like, oh, well, Christy, this was your life. I'm like, let me give you 25 names of other people's with different lives than me. But I want to ask you something, because in the chat, I'm kind of reading it and I'm thinking, like, what do people really need to hear? And here's the deal. Some of you guys are sitting here, you're like, well, that's great for her, but I have this, or but I do this, or blah, 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 blah. What makes you feel like you were able to just decide and commit and not use those excuses of, oh, I'm on vacation, or oh, I'm a newlywed, or oh, I'm pregnant? Because guys, like, pregnancy's hard. but all of those things, college student, oh, well, I can't use my phone at work. Oh, well, I can't this, or well, I can't that. What makes you feel like you have gone through all these life things and not used them as excuses?
So this is like awesome. I just got to find it really quick. Let's see. How do I search my profile? Did you guys know you can search your profile? It's like way awesome. But how do you spell priority? Let's see. Priority. So I found this quote one time on Facebook, and when I first saw this, it shook me. Like, I remember, how do I find it? Okay, if I scroll, here it is. So I just remember when I first read this, it shook me. Like, I was like, oh my gosh. And I think this is really going to summarize it. But the other thing, as soon as you were like naming off the excuses and the life and the issues that we have to overcome and deal with as we work this business, I always just think of Gary Vee and his one response to the struggles that we have, and the response is, and I have 6 kids, and okay, so this is what shook me. Instead of saying, I don't have time, try saying, it's not a priority, and see how that feels. Often, it's a perfectly adequate explanation. I have time to iron my sheets. I just don't want to. But other things are harder. Try it. I'm not going to edit your resume, sweetie, because it's not a priority. I don't go to the doctor because my health is not a priority. Or I don't go to the gym because my health is not a priority. I eat crappy because I don't want to live past 70. If the phrases don't sit well, that's the point. Changing our language reminds us that time is a choice. If we don't like how we're spending an hour, we can choose differently. So instead of saying, I don't do self-development because growing myself and my income is not a priority, or I don't work my business like I should because being able to provide the life that I truly want for my family doesn't matter. It hurts, it stings a little when you put it in that perspective. So anytime I catch myself saying that I don't have time, I always remind myself that I'm putting something else in a higher priority than what I truly want. And that gets me back in gear. That gets me working. That makes me feel like I need to just do it even though I don't feel like it. And that's what it comes down to. I love the word discipline. And I know sometimes when you hear that word, you just think of work, and you just think like, oh, I just don't feel like it. Like, I don't want to be disciplined. Like, discipline's not fun. Like, discipline's like getting a spanking, right? But let's put it in this perspective, because when you put it in this perspective, you're going to get another mind blown. You're going to put another mind blown emoji when you hear this. So when you think of discipline, you think you don't have what it takes to be successful in this business. That's usually what it comes down to. However, when you were in high school or in college, even on the days that you didn't feel like going, you still had to turn the alarm off, get up, get ready, and go, whether or not you wanted to, because you had to be able to graduate. Or here's a different example for you if you didn't go to school, which I'm sure we all went to at least some school. Let's say you have bills to pay and you have a job that pays those bills outside of this business. Even on the days that you're kind of sick or you just don't feel like going, you wish you could go spend time with your family, but you can't because you have to go to work to pay the bills. You get up and you go to work even when you don't feel like it. That's discipline. Or here's a really good one, and I relate to this on so many levels. Let's say you're a mom and you are sick and you just don't feel like being a mom that day. Sorry, kids, like, I'm not feeling it. You're on your own. You can't do that, right? Especially with these new babies, like the moms in the middle of the night that have to wake up 5 times because the baby wakes up 5 times and you don't feel like getting up. SOL. Like, you have to have the discipline to do it because that's what you have to do. That's just our job, right? You already have the discipline that you need to be successful in this business. You already established that with the work that you do as a mom, the work that you do with your career, and the work that you do with going to school. You already have the discipline that you need to succeed in this business. You just need to apply it. And it's that simple. So at the end of the day, the excuses that you have, you've just got to decide, what is my priority? And then you'll find, like, maybe my priority shouldn't be binge watching on Netflix. Maybe my priority should be spending more time with my kids. Or my priority should be making my life a little bit easier in the future because of the work that I put into my business. Because when you prioritize your business, it's crazy the amount of time that you'll get free in the long run?
Heck yeah. You guys, you have to invest. And I don't like to say give up, but I say invest some time now to free up all your time later. You know, that's just what it is. Like, you don't get to have the dream life without doing what the people do to earn that. Like, if it were like that, guess what? Everybody would just be living on the damn beach. But I always say too, like, kind of like what she was saying, you guys, you really have to make sure that you are choosing the discipline over how you feel. And I like how she put the discipline as not a negative thing. Like, if somebody tells you, oh my gosh, Brooklyn, you are such a hard worker, like, wow, that's a compliment. That's amazing. Wow, Brooklyn, you are so disciplined. Like, you don't let anything stop you. When people tell me, like, wow, Christy, you don't make any excuses, I'm like, you are damn right I don't. You know, like, it's a good thing. It's a good thing to be disciplined. Like, that, it takes grit, and it will get you to where you want to be. Like, that is exciting. It's exciting to be a disciplined person. And trust me, I sometimes didn't wake up and go to high school because I was like, I don't want to be there, you know? And I sucked at being the disciplined person. But when you know what you're working for this business, you have to know what you're working for. It's much easier to be disciplined. And I want to actually, gosh, I wrote some things down. Okay, so some of you guys are commenting, and I think so much of this business is mindset and we don't realize it. And so, two things. You guys have to get excited. If you're hearing this and you're commenting, or you're saying, you know, things like, yeah, but, or oh me, or oh yeah, but I actually blah blah blah. I don't even like to be around that, because I'm like, I'm so excited, and I'm just so excited about what this business can do, and I'm so excited to work the business, that, like, it's so hard to be around people when they're like, I want to make money because I need to so bad, but everything in my life sucks. And I'm like, you literally have a gold mine in your hand right now to make your life everything you dreamt of. So why are you not doing it? So Jocelyn, what do you feel like let's just say, has this ever happened to you, or what you would say to one of your distributors if they feel like they are doing everything, they're doing all the activity, right? They're posting, messaging, adding, interacting, and following up, and you can't post without the messaging and all the other stuff. What would you say if you are doing those things and not signing? What would be the reason, or what tips would you give, or what have you done?
So, you know, it's crazy because who you are is who you attract. And that is, like, it's stupid how simple that is, but it's in the scriptures, you know, like it says so many times, like, virtue cleaveth unto virtue, light cleaveth unto light. You can't light another candle unless yours is lit. And so I just think of that, and I think of, like, if you feel like, man, like, none of my team is working, like, nobody's signing up, of course, like, the people that you sign up, they're gonna have that mindset, like, they're not doing anything, like, things are slow. And it's crazy, like, even just that mindset of, like, nobody's coming in, like, I'm doing everything, I'm working so hard, but nothing's happening for me. Guess what? It's your mindset. It's completely your mindset. And I know, like, I'm going to be so honest with you. After I went ambassador, I went through this funk, and I was getting so stinking irritated. Like, I would get on a coaching call with Pam and with Cammie, like, with these top hoo-has of the company, and I'd get off the call thinking, like, that was dumb. Like, they just told me what I already know. Like, just get your mind right. But I was like, it can't be that simple. Like, there's got to be some secret to why Christy has, like, all these bajillion rock stars, or why Jade has, like, 500 ambassadors on her team. And I was like, there's got to be something that's missing. But I never realized that the one thing that was missing was mindset, until I had another coaching call with Pam. And I use this as an example because this is what I talked to Pam about and used it as the example. I was like, why is it that I bust my butt off and I work so hard? I sign up more people than most people do. I sign up more people than Jade Hooper has, but she has like 500 ambassadors and I don't. And do you know what Pam told me? She said, Jocelyn, it's because you don't believe enough in yourself to sign somebody up that can go ambassador. And I was like, gosh, dang it, it's me. It was like one of those moments. Man, Taylin is stirring. I'm going to have to get her really quick. Hold that thought.
I told you she was full of knowledge. Awesomeness. She's the best like storyteller. I'm like, you're right. Yes, you are. Yes, you did say that. So what she said too, you guys, just going based upon that before she gets back really quick. Man, everything is a choice. And I've been shouting her out so much, but just like the sky is the limit and it's only what you think it is. Oh, she's back. Yay. Okay.
Hi, Christy. Okay. Let's see. I was talking about mindset. So
and Pam.
Yeah. So Pam, when she said that, I was like, gosh, dang it. Like, that's not the answer that I wanted to hear. I wanted to know that there was like some secret that I just had to tweak something and then boom. But it's mindset. And so I recently, kind of felt like I was going through a little bit of a funk, not a big one. Like I was still doing everything that I needed to do, but my enrollments were down and I just felt a little funky. And so thankfully for good friends, one of my friends, Kelly, she just kind of shared a little bit of a coaching call that she had with Pam recently. And one of the things that she talked about was that you've just got to decide that you've got to stop playing to not win, like playing to not lose, and start playing to win. And the way she said it was that you've got to have the excitement and the determination that you know where you're going. And if you have that excitement and that determination, all of a sudden you're going to start attracting people that have excitement, determination, and motivation to make a change for their life. And so after talking with Kelly last month and hearing this from her, it shifted my mindset again. And I went from feeling like I was in this funk to not really signing enough people to all of a sudden, like, boom, they're just coming and they're growing and it's like awesome people. And so it's crazy what we don't realize how much is mindset. And what I can tell you too, somebody said this one time, that if you have been in the business and you've been like, she's still tired. If you've been in this business and you have ever like wanted to go to an event but not gone, that event was going to be the one that you were going to learn something that took you to ambassador. I remember somebody said that once and I was like, shoot. But you never know what it is that you go to or personal development that you do where somebody's going to say something that changes everything for you. And so sometimes it's a conversation that you have with a sideline sister. Sometimes it's a Zoom. Sometimes it's green carpet. Sometimes it's conference. You never know what it is that you're going to show up to where somebody's going to say something that changes your mindset and gets it on point. But if you don't do that personal development, you're never going to get there. And the best part too about personal development is that once you catch a glimpse of like, ooh, I really liked that, or ooh, this is like really pulling me in the right direction. If you keep doing personal development, you keep pulling and you keep getting closer and you keep getting closer, because truly this business is 90% mindset, 10% skills. You can learn the skills, but once you've got to get the mindset. And so there's a reason why when you listen to personal development, like Jim Rohn, that he'll say, the secret to success is you've got to work harder on yourself than you work on your job, because it truly is mindset. And if your mindset's not right, it doesn't matter what you're doing, you're not going to get the results that you want. So at the end of the day, like if that's you, if you're spinning your wheels, you're doing all the things that your upline tells you to do, but you're not getting the results, it's you. It's the mindset. So it's plugging into everything that you can, because you never know what's going to be the biggest thing. So and obviously ask your upline or your enroller for advice on what you should be plugging into or listening to, because sometimes they know exactly what you need and they can recommend a book.
So Becky just said your money should never exceed your mindset, but I mean, it should. That would be nice, but it won't.
Yeah.
If that's what you meant, Becky, but that's true. And you guys, like, mindset is so important because like it determines basically your ceiling. It really is. Like, if you cannot fathom making $5,000 a month, guess what? Why would you ever get a $5,000 paycheck? You're not going to. You're just not. If you could not, this is why I love shouting people out for amazing things, because it shows you guys what's possible. The point is not for you to compare yourself or feel bad about yourself. If you compare yourself or feel bad about yourself, if someone is doing good, then that means you are not doing the things that you know you should be doing, the action, the activity, the mindset. But when people are shouted out for doing something amazing, it's because I want to show you that there actually is no limit. And so, like, for example, I signed 16 distributors this last month. Some of you guys are like, I could never fathom signing 16 distributors. Well, then you won't. Once you can decide, I'm going to sign 16, and you put your head down, you will get to work. And exactly what Eden said, the limit does not exist. There actually is no limit. Like, I know Jocelyn has had months and tons of months where she's signed 20, 30, 40 distributors. It literally is just what you choose to do and get to work for. And that's why I keep shouting out Brittany one more time over here. You guys, and this, it's because it's so just eye-opening what the personal growth can do. She literally signed up, and I already posted it, so you guys probably saw, but she literally signed up last month on the 5th. She was like, oh my gosh, girl, I am not posting. I'm too scared. I'm overthinking it. She's like a total green. Like, I was like, okay, either this girl's going to do really good or she's never going to start. Like, that's what it was. That's literally what it was. She was on vacation. She came back. She's like, okay, I wrote up this post, but I'm too scared to post it. I was like, post the dang post, girl. And she finally posted it. And then she was like, okay, I'm just going to do everything you say. She's like, that's it. She's like, I'm hella scared. I don't want to message. She jumped on Power 30s. She's like, I don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it because you said to do it. And you know what you're doing. I'm like, all right. So on the 12th, she made her first post. And on the 28th, she was like 1,100 from Ruby. Well, first of all, already, which was awesome because she was doing everything that we teach, which, oh my gosh, guys, I can't believe it works. And then on the 28th, I posted that end of the month Zoom with Pam from like 8 months ago, but it will always be awesome. And she watched it and she messaged me. She's like, I don't really know how this is going to be possible, but I'm going to go Ruby. And I just decided after I watched that Zoom and I'm going to make it happen. And I was like, you go, girl. Do it. Freaking do it. And she hustled like 700, 800 BV in like 36 hours as a brand new distributor. Okay. And then 2 hours before the end of the month, which I didn't post this, 2 hours before the end of the month, she's like, you know what? I followed up with everybody. I've done everything I could. She was like 200 away. And she's like, I have a 12 to 14 hour work day tomorrow. She's like, I have to go to sleep. She's like, I did everything I could. No one's responding back to me. And I said, you're not going to sleep. I said, you're going Ruby. I was like, you have come way too far, way too close to not go Ruby. I literally said, you're not going to sleep. Like, you're going Ruby. And then immediately someone messaged her back. She signed a couple customers and she went Ruby. You guys, like, isn't it like phenomenal what just the decision can actually do for you? Like, that's just it. So freaking, it's like the simplest thing, but if you overthink it, it will become so complicated you can't even, like, you'll be chasing your tail. So anyways, the sky is the limit. There is no limit. The limit does not exist. It's just you. It's only you. Okay, so Jocelyn, what do you say was the biggest thing that helped you start being a huge distributor enroller? Because not everybody is, and you don't have to be. Like you said, 3 distributors a month, 4 customers a month, creating that duplication is huge, but also who doesn't want to sign more? You know what I mean? So what do you feel like was a huge, like, thing for you, or was it just consistency? Like, what made you you?
Yeah, so I honestly, like, it's crazy because I also had a conversation with Pam about this because I went through a funk. So back on my journey to ambassador, I think you guys will like this story. I, at this point, was like a double diamond after conference, and I just charted it out because I wanted to see what it looked like to go ambassador. And so I charted it out, and I figured out that for me to promote to ambassador at this point, I needed 278 distributors. It was so overwhelming. But I just remember, if you don't want to be on the floor, then come here. Hold on, I gotta grab another binky.
See, and that's what good moms do. I would have just picked that thing off the floor and wiped it off with my mouth.
Okay, so I charted it out that I needed 278 distributors, and my goal back then was to promote to ambassador in October of 2015, because I wanted to be the youngest ambassador, and that would have meant that I was like, I don't know how old, like 20 or 21 when I did it. And so that was my goal. And so for me to hit that goal, that meant I had to sign up 30 distributors a month to get there. And that was so overwhelming. I had never done that before. But because I had a goal and I figured out that goal that I needed 30 distributors a month, things started changing. And I think it was part of the mindset that I knew where I was going. I had the excitement and the determination that I needed, that people just started coming my way. People were reaching out to me because I was consistent with posting about the business and posting my story and posting other people's story every single day. We didn't have stories back then, but I was very consistent with my posting. I was very, very consistent with adding people. And I was very consistent with having conversations with people about the business. I have written down on my notes that from my Zoom that I had with my team earlier today, the only way to grow your team is to grow your network. If you feel like you're stuck, you need new people. Fresh fish jump first. So bring in new people into your business, and that's going to completely change it. But also adding new people into your network and growing with new friends, it's going to change everything. So that was one of the things, and one of the reasons why I was signing so many was because I was consistently adding so many new people into my network. Can you quit dropping the binky? Oh. But besides that mindset and knowing like that I needed those 30 distributors a month to hit that goal, which I didn't promote to ambassador, but I did sign up all those distributors a few months early actually. But so after that, I went through this funk where I felt like I was struggling to sign up distributors. My mindset wasn't right. And I, at one point, had this month before, like as I was charting myself for ambassador, where I signed up 51 or 52 distributors. And I remember thinking, like, I don't know how I did that. Like, I can't fathom doing that again. There's no way. And I was struggling with it. And I was like, my gosh, Pam, like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to do that again. And she's like, just go do it again. You did it once. And I remember thinking that was the Pam, I thought that was the stupidest advice. I was so mad. I was like, that's not what I wanted to hear. Like, that didn't solve my problem at all. Like, it's mindset, really. But, and so, here, will you chew on this highlighter? Oh, I know, I should grab my toothbrush. But anyway, so I just remember being in this funk. Pam tells me, just go do it again. And I was like, I can't do that. And what ended up happening was I started getting crystal clear with knowing where I was going again. And I made the deliberate decision that I wanted to be consistently setting up at least 10 distributors a month. So whether your goal is 10 or 5 or 6, you've got to figure out that number. And then you've got to figure out, okay, how many people do I think I need to talk to about the business before somebody signs up? You've got to figure out how many conversations you need to be having. And then if you're posting consistently, but people aren't coming to you, you've got to go to them. You've got to message. Christy's amazing at doing these Power 30s. And I can tell you, like, part of the reason why my enrollments have been up is because I started doing Power 30s with my team. And the Power 30s have changed everything. So it's literally reaching out to people and asking, just like me, when I was first getting started in the business, I never would have joined if she didn't ask. I didn't know it was an option. But then I joined, and now she's got an ambassador on her team. So at the end of the day, if you want to sign more distributors, you've got to add more people, and you've got a message for distributors. And here's a secret, and I don't know if you know this, but if you want to increase your volume, the fastest way to increase your volume is by signing up distributors. How long would it take you personally to sign up 50 customers? Might take me a couple months. However, I know that if I signed up 10 distributors and taught them each to sign up 5 customers, I could get those 50 customers. So there's going to be a mindset shift that if you can switch from just pushing products, I just need customers, to messaging for distributors and focusing on that, your team is going to grow more, your volume's going to grow more, and you're going to sign so many more distributors. But it also does start, once again, with that mindset, having the excitement and the determination that you know where you're going and then working for it.
What's that book you told me about earlier, Sarah Robbins?
Oh, it's called Rock Your Network Marketing Business. She said in that book that if, and just so you know, she's like a top income earner in a different business. And like she makes like Joel and Stephanie money. She says that if you want to start making a great income in this industry, you have to stop pushing products and start power prospecting, which means that you focus most of your time and energy on signing up distributors, because she knows, like, and it literally is a numbers game. Sorry, you're gonna have to listen to this, but it really is a numbers game. Another really good book that I recently listened to, Christy would also love this one, is Go for No. And in this book, one of the stories that they tell, here, put this in or something. I'm sorry, I'm almost done. But in that book, they tell a story that's about insurance, and it's this this life insurance company, and it's about to go under. And the CEO hires this hoocha guy that's supposed to like solve the problem and get their company back on the ground and running. And so he has this guy come and look at the salespeople to figure out what their problem is and why they're not getting very many sales. And so this guy goes in and looks, and he just simply like looks super quick, and he's like, oh, they're just not talking to enough people. And the CEO was livid. He's like, I just spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on you to tell me that they're not talking to enough people. Like, that's way too simple of an answer to why they're not, like, why we're not successful. And so he's like, no, like, let me prove it to you. So what he does is he takes these insurance agents and he takes them to these neighborhoods where they know absolutely nobody, completely cold market, and they sell health insurance or life insurance. So he's like, I want you to go knock on doors for 8 hours a day. And I want you, the only thing you can say to them when they first open the door is, you wouldn't want to buy life insurance, would you? That's all. And what he found out was that 59 out of 60 people slammed the door in their faces, were not interested. And so you're probably thinking like, man, like that sucks. 59 out of 60 people not interested. Like that's a lot of rejection. And then the kicker, though, in this story was that the insurance people were only getting 1 or 2 sales average a month. But by doing this system where they ask people, hey, you wouldn't be interested in life insurance, would you? That they could average 60 houses in 8 hours, which meant that instead of 1 or 2 sales a month, they were averaging 1 or 2 sales a day. It's literally that you're not talking to enough people if you're not getting the results that you want. And it's crazy because motion creates emotion. So if you feel like you're not motivated or you feel like your mindset's not right, just putting in the work, more and more action is going to create the emotions that you need to have the right discipline and mindset and determination to succeed and get the distributors.
You're amazing, and I feel so bad. Yeah, that is so true, you guys. And you know, let me just ask you one last question. I know the answer that I would give, but let me ask you. So Brianna asked, when you ask people and message them, do you ask that people that you've already been building a relationship with? I feel like there's such a thin line with cold messaging.
So the only reason it's cold is because you say cold messaging. And it's crazy because what book was I talking to that talked about that? There's a book that talks about it. It's I'll have to think about it, but there is a book that talks about that I just listened to. If you're genuine, you're not cold, and that's true. But I think if like, just think about it. If you say you're cold messaging, automatically you just think like cold, hard answers, not interested, like shutter, like, you know what I mean? And so if you just change your wording from cold messaging to opportunity messaging, it changes. And I never feel bad for messaging somebody when I know what I'm messaging them could completely change their life. Like, give me a number 2 in the chat if the person that you signed up with has blessed you. Like, if you feel like joining this business has been a blessing in one way or another. Proof is in the pudding. You guys can see it right there. Like, when you're messaging people and asking them if they by chance would be interested, you are blessing their life. You're not cold messaging them. You're blessing them with an opportunity where they can change their life. And, you know, just like missionary work, it's our job just to ask. Like, it's not our job to baptize people that don't want it. Our job is just to ask. And if they want to be baptized, then they can be baptized. So at the end of the day, if you're not getting the results that you want, you just got to ask. And if you have that discipline and the desire is strong enough that you know where you're going, you know you want to provide a better life for your kids because you know they deserve more, or you know that you're so freaking sick of a 4-hour commute every day, or you're so sick of never seeing your family, like, you just got to do it. It's the discipline that you already have.
So somebody said in the beginning, how did you get over rejection? But I think that's like, you just get over it. Like, you just have to. Like, you know, I don't know. Well, what's your answer?
So it's kind of like cliff jumping. If you don't know what cliff jumping is, it's pretty much like a cliff on the edge of water and you jump into the water. Like, it's terrifying. You're at the top of that super big cliff and you look down into the water and you just get all of these fears and these hesitations and you're scared. But do you know what? The only way to get rid of the fear of jumping off of the cliff is jumping. And then once you do it, the fear is gone. And so if you're afraid of like posting or messaging somebody, the best way to get over that is to just do it anyways. And then once you do it, the fear is gone. But one thing that I've learned is take your emotion out of the outcome. They're not saying no to you. They're not saying go away and never talk to me again to you. They're just saying, no, I don't want to change my life. They're saying no to the opportunity. And I struggled with this in the beginning. My actual primary color is yellow every time I take the test, even though I decide personally to be red. I cared so much what other people thought of me in the beginning. Like, as an example, one of the reasons why it probably took me so long to promote to executive was because on Facebook, like I said, I did a little bit on Facebook at the beginning, but my brother said, hey, Jocelyn, people don't want to see belly pictures all day. And I stopped posting on Facebook when he said that. But at the end of the day, you've just got to decide like that what you want is more important than what you think somebody could say. I just kind of think like, just ask yourself, what's the worst thing that could happen? Because chances are it's not going to happen. But if it does, like, it's not going to break you. You are so much stronger and so much more capable than you think. And you're going to find, especially with thinking of what those priorities are in your life, like, am I really going to prioritize what these popular girls in high school think of me, even though we're not friends, even though I don't have a clue why I even care what they think, if I message them and ask them about this business? Because what if one of them ends up joining? Like, you never know. You know, so many times you hear these stories of Christy posting like, oh yeah, I knew her in high school and now she just went Ruby in like 5 minutes. You never know. But if you don't ask, then they're never going to join.
And someone else might ask, that's worse. It's worse for them to join with somebody else and do amazing than for you to ask and them say no. I will say that. That sucks. You're amazing. And everything you said, I was taking notes. I know everybody was taking notes, but you guys, like, her mindset, I know she's so cute. Her mindset, everything that spews like inspiration for herself and her team and her potentials and her posts, all that kind of stuff, guess where it comes from? Personal development. It all comes from personal development. Like, nobody wakes up and they're like, you know what? I'm going to be the next Tony Robbins. No, even Tony Robbins gets coached. Even Tony Robbins reads books. That's how he became Tony Robbins. Like, that's what it is. It is diving into it. So
and I have one thought to go with that.
Yeah.
So we all start at zero. We all start at start. So if you feel like you suck at making your own posts, guess what? Christy and I had to figure it out. You know, the post ideas group that we have, we had to figure out how to make posts before. You guys should have seen our posts. They were bad. So we all start at start. We all start at, I have no clue what I'm doing. And it's just deciding that you're just going to put in the work to learn a little bit every single day. And as you do that, your posts will get better. You'll get the inspiration that you'll need. You'll get your mindset right. But we all start at that beginning point. So just realize that there's no difference between myself or Christy or Crystal. I just saw your comments. I'll use you as an example. But there's no difference between us and you besides that we started at start, and you just got to keep going in your journey and get to the finish line.
You guys, and to add on to that, the way that you're going to learn and grow is to stay connected, just like what she said. Events, Zooms, it might be the one freaking thing that changes your business, but between you and your team, like, stay connected. Turn on the notifications on the team page. Go to YouTube. Find some of the leaders. Go to Jocelyn's YouTube. She's got tons of videos with extra tips, things like that, and then put in the work. Like, those things will, I feel like the connection is what keeps you inspired. And then it's just work after that. Like, it's just the hustle. And I love it. I love the hustle. But do you have one last tip that you would love to share with everybody before? Oh, she's asleep.
Yeah. So, this is something I was going to share earlier, but I didn't. So this will be good. Sometimes I have people reach out to me, and this is kind of like a little vent session. I totally went live on my team page after this because I was kind of mad. But I had a girl sign up, didn't do anything, and then she said, oh, I can't do the business because I don't have enough time or money. You guys, we joined this business because we don't have time or money. We don't join this business because we have all the time in the world and all the money to do this business. Like, that's the power of broke. Like, we join because we don't have time and money, but we want it. So at the end of the day, don't make the reason why your excuse. You want time and money, so don't say, oh, I can't do this because I don't have time or money. We all have that problem. Like, so I think it literally just comes down to just making the decision. You hear so often, you know, just like, I don't remember her name that just went Ruby in like 5 days, or it's more than that, but that went Ruby last month on your guys' team. It was making the decision and committing to it. It's literally that simple. And when you realize that, your whole business will change. And I can just tell you, even just kind of as like a testament to that, the month that I went ambassador, my sideline sister that helped me through that was Sherilyn, I'll call it. And I told her, like, I remember it was like the 1st or the 2nd of the month. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to go ambassador. My volume this last month was only like $185,000. And I need $250,000 to go ambassador. Like, I don't know if I can do that. That's a huge jump. And she was like, Jocelyn, I just did that. And she told me almost exactly, like, number for number. Her month in January was almost the exact same that mine was in February. But she went and she promoted to ambassador in February. So she's like, if I can do it, you can do it. So she's like, you just got to decide, like, right now that you're going this month, that you're doing it. And I said, okay, like, I'm doing it. And so all through the month, like, I was like, I'm doing it. Like, I know I'm doing it. Like, I already decided it's already done. And then the work just followed because I knew it was going to happen. And then it's crazy because you'll know you're doing the right things and in the right place at the right time with the right people when crap happens. Like, I had so many issues and life happened that month. Like, just as an example, that month, Taylor happened to get called for jury duty for the state of Utah, and he was gone for a week. So I was by myself, like, at month end when I was trying to promote to ambassador. It was a nightmare. Just like all of these things kept happening. And I just remember towards the end of the month, it was like maybe like the 26th or the 27th, I was still really far away, like not like super, like somewhere less than 50, but I can't remember how much. And I just remember thinking like, it's not going to happen. And so I called Sherry Lynn and I was like, Sherry, like, I don't know if I can do this. And she's like, you're doing it. You already decided that you're doing it, so you can't back out. And just having somebody there to tell me like, no, you're in this, changed everything. And it really was the decision. No, you're just gonna get it done and you're gonna do it. And I finally, like, I just put in the work. I connected with my team and we got it done. And so if you feel like you haven't been getting the results that you want, it's because you haven't committed. You haven't decided. Because once you truly decide, there is no other option. And I know just how much making that decision can change your life. And I want you to know that it's worth it. The loss of sleep or the loss of time with your family is temporary, because you're going to get so much more back. Just like Christy says, the work and the money and the time that you put into this business is an investment into your future, and it's worth it, and you get it back tenfold.
Heck to the yes. You're amazing. Okay, so thank you so much, Jocelyn, and especially thank you because I know it's a little bit later there, and obviously you have invested into my team, so that's awesome of you guys. So yes, mic drop. You're an amazing brain full of knowledge, and I appreciate you, and thank you so much, and we will let you go. And so you guys, if we missed our opportunity call, obviously, earlier because I was doing that live video. But Alexis and I are going to go ahead and do it now, and then we'll jump on Power 30s. If you don't know what Power 30s are,